All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating chapter from the book of Numbers. It's this incredible story about a sacred law, a very human problem that pops up, and, well, a pretty remarkable solution. And on top of that, we're also going to look at this supernatural guide that led an entire nation through the desert. Let's get into it.
So here's what we're covering. First up, the sacred commandment of the Passover. Then we'll see this unexpected problem it causes. After that, we'll unpack the divine exception that was made, a really interesting solution, and we'll wrap up by looking at that mysterious guiding cloud.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We are 1 year out from that dramatic exodus from Egypt. The Israelites, they're now in the wilderness of Sinai. And right here, they get this really important command to bring back a ceremony that's foundational to who they are.
And just so we're all on the same page, everything we're talking about today is coming straight from the source text itself. We're pulling it all from the 9th chapter of the book of Numbers.
You know, what's wild is just how specific the timing is here. We're talking about the second year of their freedom, the first month, the 14th day, and that's the moment the command comes down to observe the Passover, to remember their liberation.
So the instructions for this Passover, they seem pretty straightforward, but man, were they strict. I mean, a specific day, a specific time, and this wasn't optional. Everyone had to participate, and they had to follow every single one of the ceremonies to the letter. This was a non-negotiable, universal thing.
And this is where things get interesting. We're about to see a major conflict pop up. It's that classic story, right? A perfectly clear rule slams right into the messiness of real life.
So, picture this. The command is given, people are getting ready, and then a problem. A real snag, a legitimate, totally unavoidable barrier pops up, and it's going to stop some people from being able to take part.
And this brings up such a timeless question, doesn't it? I mean, it's something we can all relate to. What happens when you desperately want to follow the rules, to do the right thing, but you just can't? It's where law, faith, and just plain old human reality all collide.
Yeah, and the text is really clear about this. Their problem wasn't because they were rebelling or trying to get out of it, not at all. It was because they had come into contact with a dead body. Something that just happens in life. But under the law back then, that made them ceremonially unclean, which meant they were barred from these kinds of sacred events.
And their plea is just so powerful. They go straight to the top, to Moses and Aaron, and you can almost hear the sincerity in their voice. They're basically saying, hey, why are we being kept back? We want to do this. They're not looking for an excuse, they're fighting to be included.
So, this totally legitimate problem, brought up in the right way, leads straight to the solution. And what a solution it is! It's like a divine update, an add-on to the original law. And here's the answer that comes through Moses. It's a brand new provision. Basically a second chance Passover. It's tailor-made for anyone who was unclean or maybe away on a long trip. It's held exactly 1 month later, but, and this is key, it follows all the same rules. It's all about making sure that no one with a real legitimate reason gets left behind.
And this is so important to grasp. This second Passover wasn't some watered-down makeup version. No way. The core rules, the unleavened bread, the bitter herbs, that detail about not breaking a bone of the lamb, it was all identical. It was the exact same ceremony, just postponed for a really good reason.
But, and this is a huge but, this flexibility was all about necessity, not convenience. The text pulls no punches here. If you were clean, you were in town, and you just decided to blow it off, the consequences were severe. You'd be cut off from the community. So yeah, choosing to skip it was a really big deal.
All right, let's switch gears for a minute. We've been talking about a specific rule for one event. Now, we're zooming out to look at the day-in, day-out guidance the entire community had on their journey. Seriously, think of it like a supernatural GPS.
So, to get this guidance system, you first have to understand the tabernacle. This wasn't just some random tent. This was the tent, the portable dwelling place of God right in the heart of the Israelite camp. And it's the focal point for this incredible thing we're about to see.
Okay, so check this out. The text says a cloud was always covering the tabernacle, but it had two forms. During the day, it was a cloud, providing shade in that desert sun. But at night, it would totally transform into what looked like fire, lighting up the camp, a beacon you couldn't miss.
And the logic behind this was just so simple, it's brilliant. When the cloud lifted up off the tabernacle, everybody packed up and moved out. When the cloud settled back down, they camped. And they stayed there for as long as it sat there. Could be a couple of days, a month, even a whole year. The cloud was the only signal they needed. That was it. I mean, think about it. This system took all the human guesswork right out of the equation. There were no committees deciding if it was a good day to travel, no arguments about which way to go or when to stop. Their entire journey was just a direct, daily act of obedience to this thing they could all see.
So that leaves us with a really fascinating thought, right? In this one chapter, we get two totally different pictures. On one hand, you have a law that can actually bend for the messy realities of life, and on the other, you have this guide for their journey that is completely absolute, crystal clear, and demands total obedience. So what does a story like this tell us, even today, about finding that balance between rules and reality, between structure and grace?